Today is Monday, July 27, 2026. All praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, forever and ever, so let it be true. Love, honor, and respect to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His Holy Son, Yahweh Shai, who died for the 12 tribes of Israel, Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, Matthew chapter 10, verse 5 and 6. And double honors to the apostles of GMS, to the 4 major prophets, to the 12 minor prophets, and to the hopeful elect, the brothers, the Akim, who are preaching the word of God on the 4 corners of this earth, risking their lives day in and day out to bring you this truth. And shalom to my brothers, sisters, and children. We're on another lesson. Yesterday it was so hot. I would say the last 2 weeks it's been hitting 100, 102. 99. It's been hot, and that video was supposed to be like over an hour. Someone told me to go look at the camera because it was getting so hot. The camera shut off because of the heat. Today I'm under a tree. There's some clouds up here, so it's early in the morning on Monday, but I want to continue with the video what we were doing yesterday. There's a lot to get into, news, and we'll tie it in with the Holy Scriptures. Got to get back on here. Let's go back here. Let's see. So we were talking about the war on Iran, the dangers of attacking water desalination plants in the Gulf, which I already told you that's war crimes. So we're getting so desperate that we're attacking their infrastructure, their food supply, their bridges, and their water. That's how desperate we are to control the Middle East. That we're harming civilians. You know, there's civilians dying in these bombings. Okay? And the first war crime of the war was when they bombed that school with those school children. A girls' school. Okay? I believe they killed close to 200 elementary girls. All right, that's a war crime right there. And like I said, they can't, and they've been trying to tap dance out of this, and they try to deflect it and try to blame Iran to bomb their own schools there. Okay, Israel, Britain, and the United States is known for bombing elementary schools, middle schools, hospitals. Okay, that's why they have a shadow ban and they dropped our videos, because we're raw and uncut. All right, and you know, and who controls social media? The Zionists. All right, like that Facebook. What was that guy's name? Zuckerberg or whatever his name. Let me get his correct name here. What's the guy that they claim that started Facebook?
The person most famously claimed to have had their idea stolen from Facebook is Cameron Winklevoss, along with his twin brother Tyler Winklevoss. Another early classmate, Eduardo Submarine, was an actual co-founder who was later pushed out.
Yeah, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. All right, he's a one of them Amalekites. They said he was 19 years old. It says the origins of Facebook have been in dispute since the very In the very week, a 19-year-old Mark Zuckerberg launched the site as a Harvard sophomore on February 4, 2004. Then called Facebook.com. The site was an instant hit. Now, 6 years later, the site has become one of the biggest websites in the world, visited by 400 million people a month. All right, there's other guys that claim that they created it. Well, who created it? The Rothschilds, the CIA, the Mossad. All right, and then they'll pick someone out of their organization, like this young kid, 19 years old. But that's all lies. It's your CIA, the Mossad. They're all one. Like I said, they just passed it, that our military is going to be joined as one with Israel, the Amalekites, the grandson of Esau. Okay? It's just in your face right now. It's always been one. Okay? But now they're coming, they're rubbing your face into it. Okay? And it's not going to change. No one's going to, it's going to be this is the two evil forces together, and eventually what their plan is to have a one world police, a one world military, a one world religion, and it's gonna their religion is gonna be to worship the Rothschild family, because they want to be they have that God complex of ruling over the peasants, and then putting an RFID chip in them, which we call it the devil's chip. That's the goal, all right, for you to worship the Rothschilds and to worship Satan. That's what's happening right now with the one world order. Okay, so going back to how they're hitting these desalination plants, all right, which are war crimes. It's a war crime what they did to that school, and they bombed other universities in Iran. All right? They're jealous of their history. All right? The Rothschild, they want all the Persian artifacts, all right, because they're big time collectors of Egypt, Babylonian, Assyrian, all the ancient cultures. They take it, right? And they want everything that's in Persia, because that's one of the greatest empires on the face of the earth, all right? They want total control of that whole Middle East, all right? Even when they conquered Iraq, they stole all the artifacts from Iraq, okay? And they took all their gold and their silver. That's what the United States, they're the bully. And Israel, they're bullies. They bully, they cross over all borders. Nobody else can do it. Remember, they set up the United Nations. The World Court, the Supreme Court, that's all created by the Rothschild family. And they own the Vatican. Okay, they own the Vatican. They control the Protestant churches. Right? They control TBN. Daylight, or all those Christian pagan churches, which are all demonic. All right, they control that whole left-hand side. Well, let's get to it, because there's a lot of information. Like I said, I'm gonna be bringing out videos every day. I'm gonna keep you posted with the news and tie it in with the Holy Book, because we're living in that time. And that's why in the Holy Book of Obadiah, God talks about the pride of your heart has deceived you, which he's talking about Esau and those Amalekites. He's talking of, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Epstein family, all those Jewish Amalekites, which they're the Amalekites. They're not from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, or Levi. they're the imposters. They're jealous of Jacob because they don't have the covenant. That's why they took over the Holy Land. They're imposters. All right, but God's going to expose them. So going back to Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1 through 3, the Lord will punish Edom. The Lord has sent his messenger to the nations, and we have heard his message. Get ready, let's go to war against Edom. So God is putting the spirit on the Persians, all right, the Russians, all right, the North Koreans, and the Chinese. He's going to put the spirit of war for them to attack the West, okay? Like I said, Europe, there's a division in Europe, all right? They're going to, at the end, attack America. England is embarrassed of the United States. All right, when you watch our Senate, your Congress, Trump on the every night he posts, on social media, it's a circus. All right, we're the laughing stock of the world. Okay. Where he says right here, and we have heard the message. Get ready, let us go to war against Edom. And the Lord Yahweh says to Edom, I will make you weak. And that's happening right now. All right. We look strong in the beginning of 2026. How we went in to Valenzuela. We bombed it, and we took the president and his wife. And we looked like unstoppable. Like, who can stop this red dragon? Right? It goes back to Esau, right? The whore who sits on the beast is America. The red dragon represents Esau, Rome, the ancient Roman Empire. All right, they went in, and the backstory to Valenzuela is they offered unlimited money to all the men that were, all his generals, his commanders. They offered them a ton of money for them to hand them over. And that's what happened. Because they sold the president out for money, his commanders. All right, they offered them a lot of money, send their kids to college here in the States, and that was an oil grab, a power move on the United States to take their oil. All right, but it takes years before we start getting those oils. That's why they have the big oil companies over there. All right, because they're going to have to, set up everything the proper way, and then we'll start taking the oil. And it's for World War III. That's why we're making that move over there in the Middle East. But now it's turning into a world war because Russia and China are involved with Iran. All right, that's why they have those precise hits on U.S. bases. Russia and the United States are with the ancient Persian Empire to destroy all U.S. bases. All right, because Russia and China can't have the United States and Israel take over the Middle East. All right, because that's when China will be on their knees because they depend on the oil. Now Russia, they have oil in there, and they're being attacked every day by the United States, Europe, and Ukraine. Ukraine is they use their faith and that president of Ukraine as the power, but they don't have the power. We're the ones giving all their drones, missiles, short-range missiles, the Patriots. It's all coming from the United States. The billions of dollars that we're sending there every month is to conquer Russia. And every day they send drones in there attacking their oil fields in Russia. So there's, like I said, there's going to be a shortage of oil on this planet. because that war is escalating over there in Ukraine and Russia. Every single day, I get reports. I look up what's going on in Russia, and they're going back and forth. But like I said, Europe is behind that, and the United States is behind. We're the power behind that Ukrainian-Russian war, and that's on another video. But let me stay focused on Obadiah. And the Lord says to Edom, I will make you weak. Everyone will despise you, which the whole world despises America. Through the internet, they could see the evil of bombing these universities, the elementary school with the girls in there. They see the bombings over there in Palestine, how they're just killing children, women, starving them to death. There's actually famine going on over there. And they're killing the press. You know, those Israelis, they kill the press. They don't care. They're ruthless over there, man. Those Amalekites, like I said, they're ruthless. And more people are learning this truth every single day, seeing that there's a genocide, all right? Even politicians here in America are getting attacked by their own communities. They're going after these people, calling them baby killers. They're chasing them out of restaurants because they can see with their own eyes what's happening over there, how they're having no mercy and how they're trying to purge that whole land so they could build casinos, condos and townhouses and mansions for these Amalekites and these rich Edomites, right? They're already selling the property out in New York City, all these Zionists, all these parasites that live here in America and Hollywood and all that. They go to New York and they're already selling the real estate of the land on the sneak. Okay, that's another video. Your capital is a fortress of solid rock. Your home is as high as in the mountains. So you say to yourself, that's us having the biggest government, the biggest mountain. The mountain represents a government, and ours, the United States, the Pentagon, the Federal Reserve, your branches of government is the biggest of them all. Okay, that's why he says, your pride has deceived you. Your capital is a fortress of solid rock. Your home is high in the mountains. So you say to yourself, who can ever pull me down? That's their arrogance. In the holy book, the prophetic book, particularly the book of Obadiah, declares that God's judgment on Edom is total and final. All right? And the Lord Yahweh states that Edom will be completely destroyed. And that's talking about America. Completely destroyed from coast to coast. Like I said, watch the movie, the original Planet of the Apes, 1966, Charles Heston. And in the movie, they call it the Forbidden Land. And at the end of the movie, they tell him, you're not going to want to go that way. You're not going to like what you see. And then he takes off on the horse with his woman, and they see the Statue of Liberty. And then he jumps off, and he said, they did it. He knew that he went into a portal into the future, and America was long gone. We're going to be witness, you brothers and sisters, God's elect. We're going to be witness. We live here in Babylon right now, and soon we're going to get picked up. We're going to watch it get destroyed, and we're going to live our lives, and we're going to repopulate the earth, because billions of people will die in this nuclear destruction. But we're going to repopulate the earth, okay? And our first slaves are going to be the Rothschild family, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Epsteins, all of them, because they're in those underground bunkers. They have billion-dollar bunkers and multi-hundred-million-dollar bunkers that these elites all around the world, we call them digging into the rat holes of the earth. All right, they have swimming pools, they have grocery stores down there, deep, just like I told you about those data centers. They're sucking up all the water. Okay, they're sucking up all the water. Now I just watched a video here in Colorado that it's been so hot. This is the hottest ever. All right, and last year over the winter it was hot. November, December, January, February, and March, we had 70s, 80s, and 90s degree weather during the winter. And when it snowed, the snow would melt by afternoon. That never used to happen when I grew up. The snow would stay on the ground until springtime, until like late April, then it would melt. We used to play tackle football in the streets, me and my friends, in the street, but it was ice and snow on the ground for 3 months. So we used to go out there and play football. We would play tackle. We would run into cars. I mean, we were young then. We could bounce off cars. It was nothing. You know what I mean? Now, if I played street football, but my bones, all my bones are probably just cracked and like brittle. You know, but when you're young, you could do all kinds of stuff. You know, jump over fences, run into cars. We used to always run into cars. We used to dent people's cars by playing tackle football in the street. But that was the good times. That was back in the 70s, early 80s. We had a good time. But now you can't do that. It's hot in the winter here. It's warm. But we did have some hot days. All right. I remember in December it was hitting in the 70s. And in March, I think 3 days it hit 90 degrees. All right. And some of the out southern Colorado, it was in the 90s. We're talking about in March of 2026. So they said it's the hottest ever in the state of Colorado. Now I think Phoenix, I believe it was over the weekend, they hit 117 degrees. All right, it's hot in Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and Colorado. Even Utah, it's been hot. But I was watching this video, and I'll bring out I'll do a lesson on it. But they were showing the cattle and the farmers here in Colorado that they're selling their cows because the grass, it's a drought. A lot of the rivers that are in these areas of the state, the rivers are dried up and the grass is turning to like dead, where the cows can't eat off the grass. That's how severe it is here in Colorado. And the United States government is not sounding the alarm. It's like they know what's going on, but they're not going to panic. They're just going to let it happen. So if you live in those areas, like I've warned everybody, if you live on the coast, the East Coast or the West Coast, sell your home and move. All right. And a lot of people are moving out of the country, but the bad thing on that, people are going to chase all Americans they're going to blame the United States for the world's problems, especially when gasoline and electric bills double and triple in the coming months. In the next 2-3 years, they're going to blame all Americans. So if you do move to Spain, Portugal, France, say you move to Germany or Norway or Latin America, then people are going to chase you out back. You're going to lose everything. So your best bet is sell your home, move to Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, North or South Dakota. Those are like the states that are going to survive of what's coming before the nukes come. Because the end is the nukes. There ain't nothing going to survive. But whoever, it's going to be the survival of the fittest. Whoever's prepared is going to last longer than people right now that didn't prepare and they're losing their homes. And I got to do a whole video on all the new foreclosures that are happening. There are so many people. I'm watching videos that people haven't paid their mortgage in 6 months, some are a year, some haven't paid since 2021, since what happened, during that time. I got to watch what I say, because anytime I talk about that, they take up down the thing. But you know what happened in 2020, 2021? People have stopped paying since then. All right, but now they're starting to. The banks are. They're coming. They're going to move you out of these homes. Okay, they're going to sell it to whoever to get people in there to start paying. But we're living in awesome end of the world times. All right. Things are going to get serious. But going back to that drought here in Colorado and how the farmers are selling their cows, all right, selling their cows because they can't feed them. They're limited on water and grass to feed the animals. Okay, and this is. I was talking to my daughter. I was telling her about about the video that I just watched, and I said this is serious because Colorado, all these southwestern states depend on Colorado water. Colorado water down the Colorado River through the mountains. All right, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Utah, Nevada, even Mexico gets water from the Rocky Mountains. All right, them states are done. And what I seen and what I witnessed over the weekend was happening here, and I'm out here. Like yesterday, it was hot. It was not only it was hot, it was like real muggy. You can have a hard time breathing. And then with the fires, like yesterday, my eyes were all watery, my nose was running. That hasn't happened for a long time, but that you could smell the fire in the air. The air quality is poor. Just like a couple of weeks ago when all the fires in Canada, Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, New York City, they said people were having a hard time breathing. A lot of people died. You know, that'll attack your, especially elderly people, people who have diabetes. People are very sensitive. Okay? And I talked to a young guy not too long ago, and he was saying he had last week, he said he was having a hard time breathing. All right, he's an active runner out here. And he said it's getting to him, and he says it's bad for the lungs. All the ash and the fire, the smoke, it's bad to breathe. And if you have an air conditioner, and it's as bad, you have to get filters. I mean, things ain't looking good in the next few years here in America. Going back in the book of Obadiah, the Lord's judgment is absolute because of Edom's betrayal of their brother Jacob. Esau will be stubble, and they will set him on fire and destroy him. When it says they will set him on fire, those are those missiles. Or a lot of missiles are going to be aimed at America during that time, and they're going to shoot those arrows, and they're not going to miss. Okay, this place is just going to be totally engulfed in flames. All right, so let's go to incoming missile mocking. This is Iran. They were mocking the United States and their Patriot air defense system. Iran continues to carry out operations against a host of the attacks in response to U.S. violations of the ceasefire and attacks on Iranian territory. The images shows U.S. military bases targeted over the past 3 days. The IRGC announced that the 7th phase of Operation Thunder against United States bases in the region, targeting areas where F-18 fighter jets are stationed, as well as an accommodation building and a large U.S. military equipment warehouse. The Al-Zawq base in Jordan. The IRNA reported Saudi Arabia is now under fire as Trump stares down a major catastrophe. Iran's retaliation gets stronger and more strategic with each passing day. Yes, they're destroying all U.S. assets out there. All right, destroying them. All right. Like I said, ABC, CBS, they're not telling you the whole truth. That's why us brothers have to bring out the real news to you of what's really happening out here. All right, and especially Donald Trump. I mean, this guy is a circus clown, saying that we destroyed their Navy, their Air Force, destroyed their armies. They have millions and millions of soldiers waiting for our soldiers to land. All right. They have underground bases all over Iran, and they can't find where these missiles are coming from. They're coming deep. Well, they know that it's coming from deep into the mountains. They have these bases, and every time we hit, they hit. They call it an eye for an eye. If the United States attacks, they attack a U.S. asset. All right, they're beating down all those Arabic countries and the United States at one time. All right, and like I told you, they could hit every U.S. carrier right now, but they're waiting. If they try to, if they continue and continue, they're gonna knock. They're gonna sink. They're gonna hit those ships with missiles. And I reported yesterday they hit a CIA building in Kuwait. Over 100. I'm going to get more information on it. Like I said, the Pentagon, the White House, it's a cover-up. All right, just like hundreds of soldiers have died. That's the cover-up. And thousands have been wounded. All right. I've seen the pictures, the satellite pictures of all the U.S. bases that have been destroyed, and how they're saying only 19 men have died, men and women, since February 28th. That's a lie. They hit these bases, hit where they were sleeping. So there could be thousands of dead, but only God knows. The Pentagon knows how many people have been hit. They're hitting every single day. And we're going to talk about over the weekend, because Donald Trump and the generals told him to hit the brakes, that this is going to, if they continue, it's going to get ugly. Like I told you, they could hit all the Navy. Their ships are all floating coffins. If we escalate it, they're going to escalate it. All right? We're going to get into it. So the IRGC announced the 7th phase of Operation Thunder against United States bases in the region, targeting areas where F-18 fighter jets are stationed, as well as an accommodation building and a large U.S. military equipment warehouse. The Al-Zaraq base in Jordan. It says the IRNA reported Saudi Arabia is now under fire as Trump stares down a major catastrophe. Iran's retaliation gets stronger and more strategic with each passing day. Overwhelming, listen to this, overwhelming, a depleted U.S. military. You heard that, depleted. We're running out of missiles. All right, we're going, what, 5 months now? Since February 28th. So we got April, May, June, July. We're going into August. So we're going into 5 months of fighting with Iran. We've already depleted the missiles. I got more articles coming up. All right, but they thought this was going to end in 3 days, and then it went 3 weeks, 3 months, and now, like I said, we're entering August now. You see how fast these months are going. So he says, let me see, reported retaliation, fuel support. Let me see here. It says Iran has reportedly retaliated by striking. Well, let's go more back there. It says overwhelming, a depleted U.S. military. U.S. Army has no answer. Military escalation. The United States and Iran, as of July 18, 2026, Iran is successfully exerting escalation dominance and draining U.S. military resources. Iranian retaliation reportedly retaliated by striking U.S. military installations and supporting infrastructure in Kuwait at the Ali Al Salam Air Base, fuel support piers, Jordan, Ozark, and the Mawasati Salty Air Base. These Arabic names, so yeah, that's how you Mawafa. Bugs. Yeah, the Mawafa Salty Air Base. And the Shisaka Air Base attacks on Saudi Arabia. Reports of sirens at the Yabu Air port in Saudi Arabia, noting the strategic importance of its port as an alternative oil route that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. has lost its ability to project power and is facing a shortage of long-range munitions like the J.A. JASSM and Tomahawks. It says, as of July of 2026, reports indicate that the United States is facing a significant strain on its munitions stockpile due to the ongoing conflict with Iran. This depletion has become a major concern for military strategists, with key findings suggesting long-term replenishment. Experts estimate that restoring depleted stockpiles of advanced precision-guided munitions will take 2 to 5 years to reach its desired levels. Excuse me, my mouth is getting dry. Did you hear that? Experts estimate that restoring depleted stockpiles of advanced precision-guided munitions will take 2 to 5 years. All right, it's going to take 2 to 5 years to reach its desired levels. Impact on readiness, budgetary response, industrial challenges for the United States. All right, we've depleted everything. All right, they thought they were going to waltz in. Like I said, the ancient Persian Empire. Look up the Persian Empire. These are very strong people with a long history. All right, they're very strong. All right, they're warriors. They're fighters. And we thought we were going to waltz in and take it. All right, and they're showing the world that America, the biggest fortress, Goliath, can be destroyed. That they could bring Goliath to its knees. All right, and that's what's happening. Now let's look at this article. All this I put down. I write all this down into this iPad so I can read it all to you, brothers and sisters. This makes it much easier as typing this than writing it in this notebook, because it takes hours to be writing all this stuff down, man. This is much easier typing it and it's done. It says U.S. suspects Russia and China help target Jordan base. All right. Of course, Russia and China are involved. All right, with all these strikes. It says U.S. suspects Russia and China helped target Jordan base. This report details rising geopolitical tensions following an Iranian ballistic missile strike on Wafa Salty Air Base in Jordan. It's Wafa Salty Air Base in Jordan. Which resulted in the death of 2 U.S. service members. Now they're saying it's four are dead, and over 100 wounded. But we know it's much more than that. It's a cover-up. It says a volatile geopolitical dimension has emerged within the intensifying conflict in the Middle East, following reports that U.S. intelligence officials are investigating whether Russia or China provided critical targeting data to Iran prior to its fatal ballistic missile strike on an American military installation in Jordan. The unverified allegations, first detailed by the Wall Street Journal, surfaced after an Iranian missile barrage struck the Mawfa Salty Air Base, resulting in the deaths of 2 service members. The Mawfa Salty Air Base, resulting in the deaths of 2 service members, leaving another missing and wounding several others. Republican U.S. Representative Riley Moore aggressively pushed for a formal congressional inquiry on Fox News, demanding authorities to determine if Moscow or Beijing actively facilitated Tehran's long-range targeting system. Like, what are they going to do? What is your senators and your Congress? What's your president going to do? They can't even take down Iran, which now they're saying they're the 4th major power of the earth. All right? They're supposed to go the United States, Russia, China, and now Iran. Those are the 4 major powers on the face of the earth. All right. When countries now visit Iran, excuse me, when Iranian officials, government visit their neighbors and their allies around the world, they throw them the red carpet. All right, because they're showing the world that they can conquer the biggest military on the face of the earth. All right. Of course, Russia and China is behind it, but what are they going to do? All right, we're in World War III. Like I said, we've been killing Russians since 2014, and we continue to kill Russian soldiers and citizens, civilians in Russia every single day with drone attacks and missile attacks. All right, that's the Rothschild plan, is to take out the whole Middle East and Russia, and then they'll have the Chinese and North Koreans will go. If they could take Iran and Russia out, they know China will cave in. Okay? But things are not turning out good for the West. Okay? But he says U.S. Representative Riley Moore aggressively pushed for a formal congressional inquiry on Fox News, demanding authorities determine if Moscow or Beijing actively facilitated Tehran's long-range targeting system to compromise American air defenses, while Washington has launched immediate airstrikes, retaliatory airstrikes on Iranian infrastructure assets. Neither Moscow nor Beijing have publicly addressed the data sharing suspicions, escalating fears among defense analysts that the regional theater is shifting into a direct proxy intelligence confrontation between world powers. Excuse me. There's another article here. U.S. official: Iran attacks injured far more troops than Pentagon admits. Iran strikes caused dozens of casualties and the first deaths in action since the ceasefire collapsed, a U.S. official said. It says the Pentagon had confirmed that nearly 100 U.S. service members have been injured during ongoing hostilities in the Middle East. This is the last couple of weeks. The newest figures, the Pentagon confirmed that nearly 100 soldiers were injured in Iranian airstrikes across various bases in July. Overall conflict totals since the war with Iran began. The Pentagon Defense Casualty Analyst System lists 427 U.S. service members as wounded. Recent fatalities following a wave of Iranian ballistic missiles and drone strikes on the Mawafa Salti Air Base in Jordan. The Pentagon identified 2 U.S. soldiers, well now it's 4, who were killed, excuse me, who were killed in action, while another remaining missing. The Pentagon withheld dozens of U.S. military injuries in the Iran war. The Pentagon said later on Monday that the number of U.S. military casualties from Iranian attacks since July 7 had risen nearly 100. Those attacks injured dozens of U.S. service members and damaged several helicopters, according to several U.S. officials who spoke on condition to discuss operation matters. All right. Now let's go over July 23rd. The Houthis claim attack on the Saudi tankers in the Red Sea. This is over the weekend. I believe this was on Friday. That just passed. Now this is in the region by Yemen. All right. And we're going to talk about it, how they're both shut down now. So the Iranian aligned Houthis said on Thursday they struck, so apparently it was on Thursday, they struck 2 Saudi oil tankers as part of a naval blockade on Saudi Arabia, threatening to create a second choke point on global oil supplies alongside Iran's near closure of the Strait of Hormuz. It says Yemen's Houthis attacked Saudi tankers in Red Sea, threatening to widen the Iran war. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels said they attacked 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea on Thursday, potentially widening the Iran war as international oil topped $100 a barrel. The Houthis have threatened to shut down another key trade route, with the world economy already reeling from Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran and the U.S. have meanwhile stepped up their attacks as they vie for control of the Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of the world's oil and gas transit in peacetime, setting off a scramble for alternative routes. The Houthi army, the Ansar Allah, commands an estimated force of 350,000 fighters. This is in Yemen. All right, this is Iran's proxy military in Yemen. All right, and they're going to shut down that up there in what is it? It's called the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. Okay, that's between Somalia and Yemen. Okay, the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea. All right, so where the Strait of Hormuz, that's the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, and the Bab al-Mandeb Strait is the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea between Somalia and Yemen. All right, that's shut down. So like I said, the coming months is going to be brutal for Americans. All right, that's why I tell you, brothers and sisters, to be prepared for what's coming. All right, pull all your money out of the bank, start buying your food, your water, protection of your home. You have every right to defend your home, inside your home. and have a lot of water and a lot of food. All right, a lot of your rice, basmati rice. Get like me, I have a lot of rice for my family. I have a lot of spices. I go to India stores to get all the spices, okay? Because they kill inflammation, all right? Parasites out of the body. So I use a lot of cumin. I use a lot of turmeric and curry and many others. I stock up on cinnamon. A lot of and you can tell the difference from those stores from India because it comes straight from India. You open that bag, it almost knocks you out. The strong aroma of those spices compared to Sam's Club, King Super, Safeway, I don't care where you go, Costco. Open that up, you don't smell nothing because they bleach everything. Everything that's here in America, they bleach it. The flour, the salt's all messed up. Everything's messed up, man. So you need to go to these other countries. Like I get my fish from Spain, Portugal, or Italy in olive oil, in jars. Some are in cans, I mostly buy jars. Okay, but I do get ones in cans in olive oil from, like I said, Portugal, Spain. Those are the best. Corsica, Sardinia, and Italy. The best of the fish and olive oil. All right, and that's gonna keep you alive. All right, because during this time of starvation, the famine that's coming, you're not gonna want to be outside barbecuing because you're gonna invite about 1,000 people to your house, and you're gonna be on the menu. All right, you want to stay low key. I have several locations. Okay, and I've been prepared. All right, of what's coming. But like I told you, if you have a 401, cash it out. I don't care how much they fine you. And people are already, I'm going to do a video on that. People they're going in there and they're taking their money just because they can't survive. They're not even preparing for what's coming. This is everyday survival. The people are now walking in survival mode. All right, people that lost their jobs. And remember, even people with jobs, your pay is not keeping up with hot inflation. Like I said, we're going into hyperinflation by the end of the year. All right, it's already happening right now with the meats. All right, meats is going through the roof, but it's going to get much, much higher. That's why we're warning you brothers and sisters to be prepared. Your average American dummy is not going to be prepared. All right, and then you're going to have people going house to house to look for food. It's going to get violent. It's going to get the mist, the air. It's changing. Okay, you can feel evil. Things are escalating with violence, or with suicide, with people on the brink of their own destruction. I drive a couple 100 miles a day, so I'm all over the state of Colorado. Okay, I drive to Fort Collins. I'm in Boulder some days. I'm in Colorado Springs. I go to Pueblo County. Okay, I'm all over, and I see the way that people are driving, and it's getting worse by the day. When I'm driving through the neighborhoods, people are just going, like yesterday, I almost hit this guy. I had the right of way. This guy coasts, doesn't even brake for a stop sign. People don't even stop for stop signs, or they just coast right through him. And he was turning left, and I was going straight. I was heading home. I was only a couple blocks from home. And this guy, just a young kid too. I would have hit him, it would have been his fault. Like I told you a few weeks back, a lady hit me from the side. She actually totaled my car. The insurance, the girls, she was driving her mother's car. She was late to work. She darts right out of an alley and hits me going about 25 miles an hour right into my side. The car was totaled. And then last year, what was it, I don't know, it was about a year ago. I believe it was in February. I got hit. My son was driving. I got hit on the right-hand side. Like every year, I get hit by somebody. These people are just going through red lights. They're going through stop signs. So be in prayer. You need to be in prayer. It's getting bad out here. Pray for your children. Pray for the people that you love. You need to be in a lot of prayer. Put the harp on. The harp removes demons. Okay. But going back to these Houthis, there's 350,000, and they're well trained. All right. The IRGC, they train these guys. All right. Just like they train the guys out there in Lebanon that are fighting those Amalekites over there, because you know they cross borders into Lebanon, trying to take over their land over there. You know, they're trying to take over everything. So going back to here, where are we at here? But they had, let's see, 350,000 fighters. They control, so they control roughly 1/3 of Yemen's territory, including the capital, and rule over more than 2/3 of the country's population. Key power metrics: personnel, an estimated 350,000 fighters, organized into a highly structured military organization. Territory: the movement administers the mountainous northwest of Yemen, the Red Sea coastline, and the strategically vital Bab al-Mandeb Strait. Arsenal: backed by Iran, they possess a vast stockpile of suicide drones and ballistic missiles, including hypersonic capabilities, allowing them to strike targets deep within the region and enforce maritime blockades. The group's dramatic expansion from a local rebel faction to a dominant regional military force has been heavily documented by the United Nations. All right, they're not no weekend warriors over here. These are well-trained, 350,000 men, and they're equipped with killer drones and ballistic missiles. So like I said, this war, Israel and the United States thought they were just going to walk right through Iran, Yemen, Lebanon. The Middle East is going to be a thorn to their jugular. All right, this war is just going to escalate, and I've been telling that for months. I've been talking this about for months because I go to the Holy Book. All right, the Persians are in the Holy Book. The United States is in the Holy Book. China, the kings of the East, the kings of the North, which is Russia. It's all in the Holy Book. All right, we know what's going on. I'm going to read one more, and then we'll continue. I'm going to try to bring out a video every day, tie it in with the scriptures, but I want you brothers and sisters to be updated with what's really happening. So this article here is the mounting tension in the Bab al-Mandeb Strait threatens maritime trade. It says a blockade of the Red Sea refers to the military embargo and closure of the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, a 20-mile-wide maritime checkpoint connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden. The corridor accommodates roughly 12% of global trade and a substantial portion of global energy supplies. Soaring energy prices, the Red Sea is a vital route for crude and fuel shipments, carrying roughly 7% of global oil supply. A blockade could spike oil prices significantly. Everything's going to go up in the coming weeks. It's already up. We're talking about really up. All right, it's going to make people like this at the they're already like that at the grocery store. They're in shock. Not only that, they're showing videos showing Americans they're buying cheaper food now. They can't buy the higher end food. Okay, like just your cheap bread is like $5-6 now, and we're talking about that bread that kills you. All that bleached bread, all that bread at King Super Save, that stuff is garbage, man. Don't even buy it. It's your best not to even eat bread. The loaf of bread that I get is about $11, and I maybe eat one a day, and it's sourdough, and it's with wheat. There's no white flour in there, and I toast it in olive oil, and I might get some sardines or some. I love tuna in olive oil, and I'll put some. I'll have some homemade hummus. I'll put it on the sourdough with some tuna on there. I might cut some tomatoes, some white onions on there, and boom, just one little piece of bread with some tuna. It'll fill me up for the whole day. And I eat a lot of salads. I eat twice a day. I'll eat in the morning and I'll eat around 3 or 4, and that's it. And some days I could go just one time eating. Remember, the less you eat, the longer you live. So you need to start training your mind and your body with good food. And the better the food is, you only need to eat a little portion, like one jar. Like I get, like say one jar. One of the jars I get, like I said, I get from Spain, Portugal, Italy. I have the olive oil. It's called Ortiz. It's about $20 for one jar, but that could last me 3 days, even 4 days. You only need like one stick of the tuna. I'm on a video. I'll call you right back. Just one stick of the tuna. I put on, I'll cut it up, put it on the bread with a little bit, like I said, tomatoes. Sometimes I'll put some cabbage. I buy a lot of vegetables, but that tuna will fill me up for the whole day. And it has a lot of great protein. It's good for the brain, the oil. And then some days I'll cook some chicken and make a salad. And sometimes I'll just eat a salad with tomatoes, cucumbers. I put in spinach, arugula, artichokes in olive oil. You can put some tomatoes, some Sicilian olives or Greek olives. What else do I put in there? Another green that's real good for you is dandelion. Dandelion is really good for your body. Cleanse out your system. I mean, it's just good. Look up dandelion. Look up and get everything organic. And don't buy nothing at those cheap grocery stores. If you have to drive to the farms to get your lettuce, your romaine, your arugula, or go to natural groceries, all right, because they're more into where they don't put no chemicals or nothing. I've been eating their fruit and vegetables taste completely different. They're better than Whole Foods. So hopefully you have a natural grocers. Your next best one would probably be Whole Foods. Or go to the farms. There's a lot of farms, and here in the city we have where they have those farmers markets. So, like I said, you got to get ready. You got to get prepared. So like I said, and juice. That's another good thing. You can juice the beets, the ginger, the guanabana. Let's go back right here. We're gonna finish it up. Let me just read the last here. It says this reoccurring ads. Okay, going back a little more here. It says a blockade could spike oil prices significantly, triggering sudden global fuel and gas shock. Massive trade delays. Shipping companies are forced to bypass the Suez Canal and divert vessels entirely around Africa's Cape of Good Hope. This rerouting adds another 2 to 3 weeks to standard transit times between Asia and Europe. Spiked freight and insurance rates, and those are going to go up because yesterday one of the ships hit a mine and it blew up the ship because they have mines out there that'll take months and months. If the United States and Europe try to go in there to try to remove those mines, they have tens of thousands of mines that they could put in now. They already have mines in there, but they can add more and more. They could put a halt. They could stop oil for months and years. Remember, time is on their hand. The United States are a bunch of spoiled, rotten people here with refrigerators, ice machines, liquor stores, wine stores everywhere, all these outside restaurants. We've been living a nice, charmed life. The people in the Middle East and in those ancient Persians, they cook at home. These people, they can endure sanctions. They can endure this war. We can't. we're weak over here, all right? And they're going to destroy us financially. Every day that goes by, it's going to be bad for Americans. People are going to be enraged in the next few months when they start seeing their electricity bill hit 600, 800, 1200. All right, and gas prices start going to $5, $6, $7. People are crying like little babies right now because of gas prices, especially with grocery prices. Your wages, they're not, your wages are down here. Everything is up here. That's why everybody is they're being strangled right now. They're being literally strangled with a rope around their neck, and people can feel it. People are going to be enraged in the next few months. So the increased transportation and logistics costs eventually pass down to consumers, contributing to higher prices for everyday goods, manufacturing parts, and food supplies. Oil prices leaped to 100 a barrel after attacks in the Red Sea. The price of Brent crude now up 40% this month. Surged after Iran's Houthi allies in Yemen claimed strikes on Saudi tankers. Dow tumbles 600 points as Brent crude tops $100. That was on Friday. There's more. I have a lot of more information, but I don't want to make the video too long. I'll be out here tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to start pushing more videos out. To keep all you brothers and sisters, and like we'll touch up what happened today. We're gonna tomorrow we'll talk about Sheldon Adelson gave Trump Republicans over $424 million since 2016. It shows you that the Rothschilds, their billionaires, are the CEOs. They control your Congress, your Senate. They control them. All right, they gave Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars. We're going to talk about Iran's missiles, how they can reach Europe. All right, and they believe they have missiles that can reach 10,000 miles. The ones we're going to talk about tomorrow that can reach 2,500 miles. All right, we're going to get into a lot. You're gonna get the real news over here of what's going on with this war. We're going to talk about Iran. Iran claims complete control of the Strait of Hormuz and how they're mocking the United States. Iran mercilessly mocks Trump. Iran says it controls the strait, and they're not seeking talks. Okay, all right. They don't want nothing to do. They don't want to sit down with them. Right now, this morning, the oil went down because they stopped the bombings over the weekend. The generals of the United States sat down with Trump and said, "Hey, we're running out of munitions. We're running out of missiles. We're running out of targets here." That's why, because he was threatening last week. He's going to unleash hell. Like I said, they can unleash hell on the West. All right. So we're going to talk more about it. Like I said, I got all this put together. We're going to get more. Every day I'm going to be bringing out a video. Hope all you brothers and sisters were edified with this video. Most High willing, I'll be here tomorrow. Keep on fighting the good fight. The end is here. It's moving fast. We're almost out of here. All right. Bad things are coming, but you know the truth. All right. You know the truth. So rejoice. Rejoice. It's the end of this wicked empire. It's the end of all nations, not only America, but all the nations under the sun are going to be destroyed. All right. The remaining people, they're going to know the truth, and they're going to, and Jacob, it's the changing of the guards. We're down here on the bottom. We're going up. All right. We're going to be with the Lord soon, and we're going to repopulate this earth, and it's going to be a beautiful time. Thank you for watching. Most High willing, I'll be here tomorrow. The water. Thank you for watching.